grab a coffee, grab a tea, grab a sparkling water or whatever it is that you like to enjoy when you're sitting down hanging out, and get your crafty bits ready because KNITLIB the podcast episode 50 whatever is about to start. Hi everyone, Susan here. Welcome to another episode of KNITLIB the podcast, my little video podcast here on the YouTubes that's all about knitting and books and crafting and other dumb things that I'm into. If you're a new viewer, hi, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you're a returning viewer, hi, welcome. I'm glad you're here. It's a Wednesday here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where I'm coming to you from. It's a late Wednesday morning in April. It's April the 16th? I don't know. Whenever I attempt to say the date or use any kind of numbers, I always get super confused, and I should just learn not to do that. Anyway, it's April whatever, and it's still snowing here. It just hasn't stopped. There was a brief moment last night when it was raining, but yeah, still snowing. I'm coming to you from my studio in the cozy little art-filled condo that I share with my husband Ryan and our really silly cat Jessup, who's currently sleeping by the window, watching the snow fall and all that stuff. Yeah, it's day whatever of this self-isolation pandemic crap. I'm feeling a lot better this week, I have to say. I don't know about you guys. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I'm feeling, I don't know if it's like all of the vitamins I've been taking have finally been kicking in. So for the first time in a very, very long time, I've been feeling really well. And so I thought, since I'm feeling well, I actually put makeup on. I have purple lipstick, and I actually put foundation on to help cover the bags under my eyes. When did that become a thing? Am I of the age now that I have bags under my eyes? Oh God. Anyway, I've been feeling pretty good. I've been trying to actually get dressed every day now. So I'm wearing an outfit today. And up until now, I've just been mostly wearing pajamas or something like pajamas, and often been wearing the same outfit like 2-3 days in a row because self-isolation, you're not going out, so who cares? But yeah, I've now become to care, so I am actually dressed today. I am wearing a top. You can see here, it's a very cropped top, and the fabric, can't remember, I think the fabric is cotton and steel. It has like a gold print on it. I really like this fabric. The shirt is the Aria top by Seamwork. It's a nice pattern when you don't lift your arms. When you lift your arms, it gets a little complicated in that it basically, the entire shirt goes up to your chin. It has to do with like there isn't enough space, I think, given in the armpits here. And the armpits themselves, the set-in sleeves are kind of set weirdly. But that doesn't matter, whatever. This is just the type of shirt that I'm just not going to lift my arms in, I guess. My hands are really dry. I need some hand cream. Today's hand cream is called Bruce's Bees. I got it at a Market Collective at Christmas. Market Collective is a kind of like artisan craft, not sometimes crafty market, but it's a lot of local businesses and stuff. They all sell their stuff. And there's a local beekeeper here who sells honey and beeswax products, and all of the honey and the beeswax and everything he gets are bees that his hives are close to the zoo here in Calgary. So it's kind of neat that all the honey is really, really good if you like honey. But I do enjoy the hand cream. It kind of feels, it smells nice. It smells like beeswax, and it's just feels really nice on your hands, which is great considering how much we're washing our hands. Anyway, it's been 5 minutes and I've been blobbing at you. Yeah, I have a lot of things to share with you today, aside from hand cream and shirts and all that stuff. The first off the top of the bat, before I get into some of the knitting that I've been doing, and the sewing and the books I've been reading and all that stuff, I want to, at the very top, introduce a new thing that I am now doing. And it's a bit of a big leap for me, and it's putting me, I'm feeling a little vulnerable announcing this, because it's a little awkward, but I've started a Patreon. Yeah. If you're not familiar with Patreon, Patreon is a website where makers, creative people can, they create an account, and then people can subscribe to their account, and they provide for, you know, different prices a month. You get certain perks. I subscribe to a couple of Patreons of some really great nitty creative folk. Some of them being Jacqueline Salem of the Brooklyn Knits podcast. I subscribe to her. Her content is awesome. And also Mimi of Yarn Chicks. Her content is also really great. And I've been thinking a lot about starting a Patreon. I've probably been thinking about it for like the last year. And to be honest, I just haven't had time to devote to making it. And I've had ideas for content to upload and all this stuff, because I have tons of ideas, just not enough time. And what do I have a lot of right now? Now that I'm officially laid off, unemployed, can't leave the house, I have a lot of time, and I have a lot of ideas, and I'm feeling this spark of creativity that I just want to be making and writing and all this stuff, and I need somewhere to put it. And rather than start a blog and pay for like a new website and all that stuff, which I do not have the ability to do right now, I thought it might be fun to try for a while anyway, a Patreon where I can upload all sorts of cool things and then offer it to you if you're interested. I totally understandable if this is not something you want to do. But if for those that are interested, for $4 US a month, you can subscribe to my Patreon. I don't have multiple tiers. I just have one tier, and that's $4 a month. And to try to make it affordable for many people. And yeah, so for $4 a month, you will get access to a blog that I update regularly. And in that blog, I do a lot of personal writing. So a lot of journaling, and Right now, currently there is, the first post is about bread magic, and it's called Zombie Bread Will Never Go Moldy. So yeah, I had a lot of fun writing that, and that's the first post, and I have plans to share sort of behind the scenes look at the creative endeavors that I'm doing, sort of like even more than what I do here on the podcast. So if you enjoy what I do here on the podcast, you'll probably like the different side of me that you will get if you sign up on my Patreon. I used to do a lot of writing, and that's something that I really miss and wanted to find a outlet for, and I think Patreon's the way to do it. So expect a lot of creative personal writing and vlogs and other things that may not show up on this channel. So there will be things that are only there for Patreon subscribers. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you also get a blanket discount on my patterns on Ravelry, and there's also a chance for you to get free patterns too, because I have lots of pattern ideas that I want to be working on. And yeah, there will be giveaways and all that stuff. So if you have the means and you feel like you can support that Patreon, I'll put the link and everything down below. No pressure to do it if you can't. No pressure. This podcast will always remain open, free to the public. Everything. You do not need to subscribe to Patreon to access this. The little perk that Patreon subscribers will get is that they will get this podcast episode basically 72 hours earlier than everybody else. So that's one of the perks. So that won't be with this episode though. That'll be the next episode will be pulled aside for Patreon subscribers for the first 72 hours, and then it'll be released to everybody else. Anyway, that's my thing that I'm doing now. And even if you can subscribe, if you can subscribe for like 1 month or 2, it's all so appreciated, and it helps me support the creative work that I want to be doing. The money that I get from Patreon will help me replace my computer, which is on the verge of death. And I really want to upgrade all of my tools, my creative tools, and yeah, so that's what Patreon's going to help with. It's also going to help me get more creative things done. It's going to help me eat. Yeah, I'm unemployed now. Anyway, I digress. But thank you in advance so much for your support if you choose to support Patreon. And if you can't, I still love you. Yes. And now to the nitty stuff. I don't really have too much nitty stuff to share with you because I haven't really been working on multiple things or anything. But I do have progress on the sweater that I shared last time. I have now completed 2 sleeves of the Aquamarlite sweater by Park Williams, who's Park and Knit on Instagram. This is I have to make sure, oh shit. Lost a stitch. Okay, there we go. Here's sleeve. This is sleeve 2. This is sleeve 1. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. The sleeves, they took a little while to do. This sweater is a cropped sweater with poofy sleeves. Let me put on the other one because the needles are longer on this one. Yeah, the poof sleeves, they're pretty. Oh, I really, really love them. I am doing a fade from green up to a purple. That's going to be up here. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I finished the sleeves and then I promptly cast on for the body. And this is what I have so far for the body. I don't want to lose my stitches. Oh my God. Oh, for goodness sake, it's the beeswax on my hands. The needles keep sliding out. Here is the progress I have done on the body. So not a ton. I basically just, you can see oh, I love this texture so much. Oh my gosh. Where are the increases? Here we go. So I just finished all of the waist shaping increases, which you can see here. So the pattern call has two different versions. You can opt for a fitted waist, or you can opt for a more boxy look. I'm doing the more fitted waist version. So I have finished those increases and I am on to the second color fade as well, which you can barely see because you can see it's slightly getting a little bit lighter right here. The fade from this green combo to the second green combo is pretty subtle. You can see on here, it's pretty subtle. Yeah, I'm trucking along on this. I'm really looking forward to it. The pattern says to knit until about, like for the size that I'm doing, about 7.5 inches. I'm going to knit it longer because I learned this from the party top sweater. So this one from last episode, I learned from that one when it also told me to knit for 7.5 inches, and I did not measure correctly and only knit 5 inches. So I'm being extra careful, and I think I actually will extend the length of the sweater before joining the sleeves by about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. I might go up to 9 inches possibly. Just to give that added bit of length so that if I want to wear the sweater on its own with a pair of high-waisted pants, I can be sure it's going to hit the waist of my pants, the waist of my skirt. I'm also having daydreams of wearing this sweater underneath a pair of overalls, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Under a pair of overalls, yeah. So the sweater needs to be long enough that it can hit my waist and not stick out in the overalls. That's what I want. Yeah. Not really much to say about the sweater right now. Because I'm just in Stockinette City, so I'm just knitting around and around and around and around. One of the things I have done though is I've set up my knitting situation a bit more, I wouldn't say it's necessarily more ergonomic, but it's making things a little bit easier for me because I'm marling and holding two balls of yarn together. I just want to make sure the yarn isn't flying around everywhere. So I put a nail in the wall underneath my window, which is like right here, so that when I'm sitting at my computer, which is right here, I can knit and hang the bag off of the nail on the wall, and so everything stays contained. So far it's working out so well. I can't believe it's taken me this long to do it, to be honest. Yeah, I'm really, really happy about that decision that I did. Yeah. This one thing I will say, that doing the sleeves first on this fade was such a good idea, because now what's happening, let me show you the yarn, give you an example here. This is the yarn I'm currently working with right here that's being held together for the sweater. Because I divided up the yarn relatively evenly for the sleeves, that means whatever I have left, I'm just gonna keep using it until it runs out completely. So with any luck, I'm gonna have no, like very, very little to no leftovers with this project. So I'm gonna keep knitting. This is close to running out, so once that runs out, I should have a little bit of this left over then to pair with this yarn here. Now I do have a lot of this yarn, so I may end up, depending on how everything goes, I may end up cutting this one off early just so I can blend into the purple earlier. But I'm gonna cross that bridge when I get to it. This project is inside of a small rabbit bag right here. This is a bag by Bagu. They do a lot of reusable bags. I have quite a few of their bags. They're like nylon or parachute material or whatever. I like this one because it's small. It's perfect for knitting projects, but it's also a good little bag to have in your purse, in your backpack or whatever when you're out and you go shopping, because it can hold a lot. I think I put like, I think it can hold up to 50 pounds or something like that. It's kind of nuts. I've managed to fit a lot of crap inside of that. But right now it's just holding my knitting project. Yeah, so that's the Aquamarlite sweater progress. Hopefully by the next time I podcast, I'll have even more done. Hopefully. Yeah. On to the next thing. While I've been knitting on this, I've been daydreaming about different ideas for doing headbands and headscarves, like head wraps and stuff like that, because I don't know about you, but self-isolation and, you know, social distancing and everything being closed, and here in Alberta anyway, they have closed all of the hair salons and tattoo shops and nail salons and all of that, like personal service, body, beauty stuff. They're all closed. So everybody's hair is just like gone crazy. And I am trying really, really hard to not cut my own hair. I've done years of cutting my own hair, and with the way that my hair is now, I just don't want to chance it. I really trust my hairstylist, and I'd rather her deal with it than me. So until I get to see her again, which probably won't be until the summer, because they're projecting that this current state of affairs will probably last here in Alberta, like here in Canada anyway, until July. And I haven't had my hair cut since January. So what's happening with my hair is that it's all on the front, the way my hairstyle is. It's quite short in the back, and all of the weight of my hair is in the front. And as it grows out, that means I'm basically getting a reverse mullet. So bring in the headbands. That's what I'm wearing right now to push all of my hair back. My hair is short, but the thing is I have a lot of it. So yeah, I need more headbands. And one of my favorite things to tie in my hair is actually a little shawl that I made probably like 10 years ago, maybe more. I made it a long time ago. And this little shawl, it was a Boneyard shawl that I made. Boneyard is a free pattern by Stephen West, and I screwed up the gauge on it, so I knit it actually quite tightly. And the result is this little shawlette that I usually just tie around my neck, but I started wearing it around my head as an antidote to bad hair days, and it always looks really great. And that triangle piece of fabric, wrap it around your head, tie a bow, and you're good. So I've been trying to figure out ways to design a triangular shawl that's can do double duty, so that you can tie it around your head because you can't go to the hairdresser, Or you can, when you can go to the hairdresser and your hair is cut, it looks great again, you can tie it around your neck like a little kerchief. So I've been thinking about these ideas and trying to wrap my head around the math, because I have a lot of experience designing my own sweaters from back when I was in art school. And I used to do these really weird sweaters with like things coming out of them and all this stuff. And they were always, the formulas that I would always use were the Elizabeth Zimmerman ratio formulas for her yoked sweaters and everything. So I have experience doing that with that kind of algebra. But knitting shawls and thinking about those shapes, it's a little, I get it, but I need someone to walk me through it. So one of the things I decided to do is because there was a deal on Blueprint, which used to be Craftsy, I've purchased a few classes on them previously, like probably like 5 years ago. And I was looking through Blueprint, and they had, like, I think they were all on special, like they made all of their content, like all the videos, accessible for free, to, you know, help support the beginning of the pandemic and people being stuck at home. And I was watching Knitting Shawls 14 Ways, I think is the name of the class that I was looking at. And I found it really useful. And so I decided to subscribe for the year so that I can get access to all the course content, all the documents and everything. And the subscription for the year was actually really affordable, because they did have it on sale. I think it was like $50 for Canadian for the year. So I did that, and I've been working my way through the class to kind of think about doing a triangular shawl. So let me show you some of the swatching that I'm doing. So the yarn I've been wanting to use is actually I'll show it to you on here on the Woolly Gig. It's a fingering weight yarn that is hand dyed by me. It was solar dyed. So I took a skein of yarn, shoved it in a jar with a bunch of random dye or red dye, and then came out with this beautiful skein that has like reds and pinks and a little bit of brown and oranges and all that stuff. Yeah. Oh, siren. Okay. And watching the class was really great because they talk about how to start your shawls, the math in terms of row gauge versus your stitch gauge, and how to determine the math with it so that you can figure out how much yardage you need for the shape and all this stuff, the shape of the shawl that you're doing. So I knit up a swatch. I didn't block it yet though, but this is the swatch so far. And so I have stockinette right here, and then I have some eyelets right there. Oh, I like the eyelets on camera. Yeah, so this is my swatch, the fabric that I'm thinking of. What I'm thinking of for designing a triangular thing to wrap around my head, the idea with a triangle thing to wrap around your head is that you take it and you pull it from behind. So you have the ties right here, and it's the long part of the triangle goes behind your head. So you lift it up, but then you take the triangle part, the pointy part, and you lift it up, and then you just take your ties and tie it up, almost like a diaper on top of your head, really. Tie it up on top of your head. And so you have you have opportunity to see a bit of texture happening, and then you can just like tuck everything in and it stays pretty firm on your head, at least on my head anyway. I really, really love the idea of doing something that's like a half and half. So like stockinette on one half of the triangle, some kind of pattern on the other half of the triangle. And it's just figuring out how to do it. And yeah, it's a good exercise in creative problem solving. What I had started to do, which I'm going to rip out again, this is just the very beginning, of the triangle. And you can see I just started putting in eyelets here, but I'm not convinced by them yet. So I just wanted to figure out the shape, if this is the shape that I enjoy. I think it's gonna look cute wrapped around. There might even be a chance this won't be a full head wrap. Maybe it'll be just like a headband, like the one I'm wearing right here, which has, it's a little thicker in the back and then has the ties up here. I don't know yet, but I'm having a lot of fun. And this is something, when I have it done, I'm going to be offering it as a free pattern on my Patreon. So this is another incentive. An incentive to join, ha 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 ha, once I get it figured out. But yeah, my hope, like my whole idea, is the same with the Molly Fodge mittens that I'm working on, which are the pair of fingerless mittens that are mohair, or not mohair, it's 2 strands of fingering weight held together. My idea is to use up whatever you have in your stash. So we always have a lot of fingering weight in our stash from leftover knitting socks, knitting shawls, knitting sweaters. So we just want to use up whatever we have, little bits of it, to be solutions for practical problems like out of control hair that you need to make halfway presentable. So that's the other knitting thing that I'm working on. I also have an acquisition that came in. So right before my official layoff, I decided, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a bit of shopping before I don't have any money anymore. Priorities, right? And do a bit of self-care. And I ordered a sweater's quantity of yarn that I have been lusting over on Allison Barnes yarn. And yeah, it came in the mail last week, and I am so excited about it because look at it. Look at it. Look at this glorious, glorious, oh my God. I have a sweater's quantity of this, and it is like, you can't see it, it's just slightly off camera, because I'm sure if I had this all on camera, it would just like, all the focus would go to this yarn. This is a fingering weight on her basic sock base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. You have about 420 yards per 115 grams. The colorway is a discontinued colorway, but it's called Leg Warmers. And I mean, really, oh my God, this yellow. I'm into it. I have this thing, if you didn't know, if you're new here, I have this thing about neon and fluorescent colors. I love fluorescence, and I might not dress head to toe in fluorescence, but I love punches of fluorescent colors. So fluorescent pink, fluorescent orange. I love them because they're just like little bits of joy in every single outfit. If you have just a little punch of neon. I have intended to knit the LYS sweater by Andrea Mowry, which came out last year, I think it was, for Vogue Knitting Live, maybe? I can't remember when it came out for. But it's a really cute cardigan, knit and fingering weight. And LYS, which is local yarn shop, but also little yellow sweater, I thought would be amazing in this neon yellow. and pair it with some like cute, ridiculous buttons, I think it would be so adorable. This would match the other cardigan that I have that I bought at from my friend's vintage shop. She had this 1970s acrylic like feather and fan type of lace cardigan that's worked in acrylic fluorescent orange yarn. Like, we're talking safety cone orange. It's a really good orange, and I love that sweater, although it does not breathe at all. And surprisingly, it goes with a lot of things that I own. It's a little weird. So I thought a neon yellow one would be even more fun to have. And yeah, the LYS pattern is going to be super cute in it. So that's going to be what this is destined for, that I will start knitting eventually. But yeah, I'm excited about this yarn. It's so good. Yeah, so that's it for my knitting stuff. I'll get into sewing stuff. I have been doing a lot of sewing, and I can feel my inclination to sew coming back. And because I was sick for a long time, I was sewing, but I kind of like had to stop sewing because I was just in bed, like gross and ill. And I hadn't sewn for a long time. And I feel like sewing is kind of like a muscle that you need to stretch it and keep working it. Otherwise you lose it. And so I've kind of lost my sewing mobility, and I decided to, I'm getting back into sewing by making masks, which I shared last time. I'm making a ton of masks. I'm going to show you one of my favorite ones that I made. The mask pattern that I'm using, because I know you're going to ask, is the Craft Passion pattern. It's probably the most popular one, and it's intended for a fitted mask as opposed to the pleated ones. So it's shaped, it fits around the nose and comes down around the chin. The ones that I'm doing are 2 layers of cotton, and it does not have a pocket for a filter because I don't know anybody that has a filter that can go inside of it. And I'm only making these for friends and family. So the pattern, the size that I'm making for myself is the women's, or what I'm kind of considering the medium. And if you're looking at the pattern that I chose that printed off is the one that has the seam allowance already built into it. Because I can't be bothered to measure out that 1 centimeter for the seam allowance as I'm tracing the pattern. Like, give me a break. I'm not going to do that. So yeah, this is one of them. This one right here has kitty cats all over it. Oh my gosh. And the inside of it is another cotton quilting fabric here. It goes on, let me just take off my glasses here. The way that I have it, because I don't have elastic, the solution that I came up with, that I found on another random, super random Instagram post that somebody else was making them on, they use t-shirt materials. So I have a lot of leftover bits and bobs of cotton jersey, and I cut it up into 1-inch strips, and then I knotted one end of it and then threaded it through each of the elastic casings. Normally people have been making sort of like the loops like that go behind the ears. I find that really uncomfortable myself, just because I tend to wear a lot of things on my head already, between the headband, my glasses, my headphones. Like, there's a lot of things on top of here. So I wanted a different alternative. So I have this tie. It goes in, I thread it through from the top, then it goes down through the bottom here and then comes up where I knot it again. The idea is that the tie that's at the back right here goes behind the neck like that, and then you can kind of like cinch it up already like that, so it's kind of like tight behind your neck, and then you position it where you need to position it, and then you can tie this on the back of the head. So yeah, I mean, need to push it down. I mean, it's as comfortable as it's going to be. These are not made for comfort. These are stupid, really. Why do we have to make them? But I kind of like it because it's a little bit more fitted. It fits tight on here. For the most part, it doesn't fog up my glasses too much. But it does feel comfortable on my head. So, because it's not wrapped around my ears and all that stuff. Anyway, I've been sewing a lot of these. Let me get them off. Where's the tie? So I've been sewing a lot of these, and it's great because you can just kind of like untie them, especially if your hands, you always operate with your hands being clean and everything. But like when I have to go out or anything like that, it's great to just kind of put it around my neck like this, and then I can lift it up and just tie it immediately. And they're easy to clean too. So I've been hand washing these in really, really hot water, hot soapy water, after every extended use. I don't leave the apartment that often. I really don't. I don't go anywhere. I just stay home. My exposure to other people is like really, really low. But I have been, because I've gotten requests from other people to make them and everything, so I've been sewing up a storm, trying to make things for everybody. I've been doing batch sewing, so I cut out like a whole bunch from all the fabrics, and the fabrics that I'm using, I'm trying to use leftover stuff from other projects. So I have, this is like the exterior one, this is some egg fabric here, and the interior is this cotton, like heathered stuff. Anyway, they don't take that long to make. The only thing that I'm doing different from the pattern, from what the blog post and everything that she suggests, that the designer of the pattern suggests, is that I've been ironing everything at like each step to make sure that everything is nice and snug and even. I have some finished ones in here. So this is kind of like the large size. I don't have the straps put in there yet. But you can see the other thing I've been doing is I've been putting in, I don't know if you can kind of see, like 2 lines of top stitching down the front for added stability and structure. And then here's the interior of it. So just more cotton on the interior. The result is, you know, it is what it is. So I'm slowly making my way through making all of those. I think probably so far I've sewn like probably 50 so far and given them away. Some folks are being really kind and are paying me for them, which is really nice to help cover just the amount of work I put into doing them. Yeah, so I think I'm finally getting to the point now though that I'm like, okay, I think once I finish this batch of masks, I think I'm gonna be done sewing masks. I'm not gonna do any more. And I wanna sew other things. And because I treated myself to a bit more fabric in anticipation of warmer weather to sew some more overalls. So I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that my Aquamarlite sweater I've been wanting to sew. I'm wanting to knit it longer so it can fit under overalls. I made last year when I caught the sewing bug, I made four pairs of Yanta overalls from Helen's Closet. Now, since making those, I actually made a lot of them. I made the wrong size. I may have mentioned this in an episode a long time ago, where I discovered I was cutting and sewing the completely wrong size for myself. I was sewing things that were 2 sizes too big, and while they looked fine, they were not the fit that I was really intending to do. So my Yantas were definitely like that. They were all too big. So I printed off, I got a new Yanta pattern printed. I remeasured myself, and now I'm going to be making a size 10 in the pattern, as opposed to, I think the last one I made, it was a size 14. Like, that completely different. So I'm making a size 10. The idea being that hopefully it'll fit fairly snugly around my hips. So that's the important thing. I want it to fit around my hips. And I wanted to choose 2 new patterns, or 2 new fabrics for it. So the first fabric I have is one of my favorite fabrics, and this is a cotton linen blend. I have made my first pair of pants I ever made was out of this fabric, and I love them. And I know how well this fabric wears, and even though it's cotton linen, so it wrinkles fairly easily, the wrinkles still look good. But look at this. The colorway is called Pickle. Oh, can you even? This yellow green is one of my favorite greens. I love this. And if you were to pair this with this, oh my gosh, I think that would be so fun. Absolutely so fun. So I have this fabric here that still needs to be washed. I also have a cotton canvas, and this one is, who is this by? This is Cotton and Steel. And this is called, this is In Bloom. So it's on the way in bloom. I don't know what that means, but here we go. I'm so excited about this one. I think the same fabric, but it was a kind of a cream canvas with navy blue print on it. Yeah, this is the exact same fabric. I made a Wixton dress out of this, and it like a long Wixton shift dress with a tie and long sleeves, and oh my gosh, the dress is so good. I get so many compliments whenever I wear it. It makes me feel super powerful. And I thought, I'm gonna get the same fabric and make a pair of frickin' overalls with it. I am really excited. It's gonna look really cute with this sweater. It's gonna look cute with this sweater. It's gonna look cute with everything. So as soon as I got this fabric, I started to get a little bit itchy. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so good. I need to make this. I need to make this now. So yeah, I'm feeling inspired, and I'm going to give this fabric a wash and then try to get all of my mask sewing done this week so that I can spend the weekend doing Yanta overall sewing. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. That brings us to life stuff. Not really much is new. I mean, Monday, so April 12th, which would make today's Wednesday. So today's the 14th. Yeah, today's the 14th. I can do math. April 12th was the official day of my temporary layoff. So I had to, like millions of other Canadians, have to navigate the federal government's website for getting employment insurance benefits. That was a treat. So I'm waiting to hear back from them to make sure that I know I qualify, but I'm just waiting on that. I am really grateful that we did a grocery order. I put in a grocery order 2 weeks ago and then picked it up on Monday. So that was great. And basically I ordered a bunch of staples, but there's already things that I realized I forgot to put on there. But, and I got pretty much everything that was on the order. Like there were a couple of substitutions, but they weren't terrible substitutions. And there were some things they just didn't have, but I'll be able to find them somewhere else. And yeah, that worked out well. And then we had our meal delivery service come. So I feel like this is the most food that I've had in the house, like in a long time, which is really great because on Sunday we had like no food. We were like, aside from eating like, I don't know, plain rice, there was nothing else that we could make for a meal. And, it ended up getting really creative. That's what happens when you are limited to using what you already have, and like there are no stores open, there's nothing. So Ryan and I both have a major sweet tooth, and we're candy people, which, yeah, part of that grocery order that we got was like 2 kilograms of candy that are already half gone. Yeah. I should go to the dentist when this is all done. Anyway, so we didn't have any candy yet. We're like, oh God, we need something sweet to eat. And so I found in my pantry bin a old bag of almonds that I had convinced myself were actually kind of stale. But they weren't too bad. So I decided to do candied almonds, and that was so good. So I don't remember what recipe it was that I used. I think I was just referencing different, like, was it allrecipes.com? I think it might have been where I went first. And you just take a little bit of water and a cup of sugar and a little bit of cinnamon, and put it in a saucepan and mix it up. And then once it kind of goes liquidy, then you add all the almonds and mix it up. And then what I did is I put it on a baking sheet on parchment paper and baked it at like 375 or something like that for a little while, for it to caramelize and to get crispy and all that stuff. Anyway, the result was so good. So we ended up with candied sugary sweet almonds, and I don't know if that's any better than real fruit gummies and gummy bears, but it is what it is. So yeah, we've been getting creative. Now we have staples, like pantry staples, so I feel pretty good once our meal delivery stuff, once we eat all of those, then we still have like stuff to make chili, and we have stuff to make nachos and other forms of nachos and chili. Yeah, so that's good. And we did get a new canister for our SodaStream, and which is making me very happy because I'm a huge sparkling water drinker, especially since I stopped drinking alcohol. The saving grace for me wanting something fizzy to drink that's not beer it has been fizzy water, and I love having SodaStream. And one of the things that a friend of mine gave me was actually I made some masks for her and her partner, and in return she gave me candied lemons, and I am so into those candied lemons. Oh my gosh, I need to get a great big sack of lemons somewhere and make my own, because they are so good inside fizzy water. Oh, cannot speak highly enough. If you have a good recipe for doing candied lemon slices or citrus slices or something, let me know in the comments, because I want to know. It's been such a delight to put 2 slices of like candied lime and candied lemon in the sparkling water because it just gives that little bit of sweetness, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of tartness from the lemon rind and all that stuff. And oh my God, so good, really enjoyable. And it's a great way to have a little sparkle to your day. But yeah, that's pretty much my life right now. I'm gonna start reading a new book. I finished the audiobook I was listening to, Sourdough by Robin Sloan. Strongly recommend. And I'm going to start reading on my Kindle the Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. So this comes highly recommended to me from a couple of different people. And I'm really excited to read it. I can't quite bring myself to go back to all of my contemporary romance books yet. So I need something different to read. And I think a paranormal thriller, horror, mystery thing is exactly what I need. It goes in line with the binge watching I'm doing right now. I am binge watching Elementary, that Sherlock Holmes show with what's his name? The guy from Trainspotting and from is he in Hackers? I think he was in Hackers too. I can't remember his name, but he plays Sherlock, and then Lucy Liu plays Joan Watson. So I'm on season 2 of that. I am really enjoying it. I didn't think I would enjoy it because it's a crime show, and I didn't know if my heart could take a crime show right now, but it can. It can take that one. That one. It's not like CSI or anything like that. There's a little bit of levity to it, and I'm enjoying the Sherlock Holmes tropes that are in there. All Sherlock Holmes movies and TV shows that come out, I tend to watch them. So I'm enjoying how they're interpreting the story. And yeah, so that's what I'm watching. I think that's it. That's all I have to share today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You found something you could connect with. I hope that you're doing well wherever you are, and that you're finding moments of joy where you can, and that you're taking care of yourself. Again, if you feel like subscribing to my Patreon, the link's below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. You can hit the little bell to get notified when I update again. Yeah, I'll check in with you guys sooner rather than later. And yeah, keep being magic, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.